AI will not replace agents, but agents who know how to leverage AI will replace the ones that don't. We shouldn't let fear be a barrier to us embracing something that's new because it's just unknown. This is a tidal wave. It's not going anywhere, it's coming at us. They can ignore it and drown. They can try to put on a life preserver and bob up and down and eventually drown, or they can grab a surfboard. We saw the hunger that agents and brokers had for understanding AI, and there were so many people out there telling them to use it in the wrong way. It's a responsibility of MLSs and associations to educate their members. And you've got to approach it with the safety and security and the guardrails and the gates to make sure that you do it correctly. A realtor is a therapist. A realtor is a shoulder to lean on sometimes. That they just need you to have that human element that AI will never have.
The Real Thought Exchange, powered by NSAR. Hi, I'm Roger Boutillier, the CEO for the Nova Scotia Association of REALTORS, and I've been with the organization for 21 years.
And I'm Suzanne Gravel. I'm the current president of NSAR.
And with us today, we have Kevin Hawkins, the president of Wave Group Communications. He's a tech evangelist, an early adopter of technology, a new author of the best-selling book, The Real AI Guide, and he's been named to the class of 2025 Futurists by Riz Media, and he's also the industry leader on AI education, and that's why he's here with us today.
Well, thank you, and I just want to know, does every president have to have a radio voice? Is that one of the requirements?
Oh,
your voice is just calming. I want to just steal you for all my voiceover stuff because it really works well.
Well, I am. When I'm finished the presidency, I'll give you a call and we'll see what we can work out. I'm telling you,
all I want to do is clone your voice. It'll take 5 minutes and then I'll be good.
Okay. Just send me anything. I'll read it for you. No problem.
Roger, thanks for that introduction. It's thrilling to be here today and to talk to people in Nova Scotia. You know my background, right? My grandmother came to the United States through Nova Scotia. And bad on me, I've never been. So I told Roger, one of these days I've got to come and visit in person because there's such a family lineage there that she came through Ireland, through Nova Scotia. So I've always heard that story my whole life, and now I need to figure out a way to come see those roots.
All right, down at Pier 21, you'll find her name in the immigration book.
Where I'll be.
She'll be there.
So Kevin, you spent 35 plus years in the real estate industry and technology, so you're kind of a legend. So what first brought you or pulled you towards the real estate industry? Well,
it's really interesting. I kind of got into this industry by accident. It was a mistake. And it's been a mistake that I've been making ever since, and I've never left. And it's been the best mistake that's ever happened to me. I was interviewing actually with right out of grad school at USC. Had been working for an entertainment firm, and technology firm. And so I started early on in technology. And then this really cool PR agency in LA called me on an interview, and I thought, oh, I'm going to work for this big firm. And they said, no, we don't want to work. You want you to work with us. We want you to go work with this company called Great Western Bank. I was in LA at the time, and Great Western was one of this giant thrifts, and they were reinventing themselves as one of the top mortgage lenders in the United States. And my first assignment, and we're talking about a kid right out of grad school, was to dive into this realtor program. And I had to create, marketing had the best realtor campaign in history. The whole thing was premised around famous actors like even John Wayne. They brought him back from his old commercials and revigorated him. But they had Dennis Weaver and other celebrities. And what they said was, looking for a home without a realtor is looking for trouble. And they had this whole campaign of pro realtor, and they wanted somebody in the communications side to develop a realtor outreach campaign. And I created all the early year stuff, the first how to shop for a home guide, how to shop for a loan guide. We did videos on VHS tapes, distributed to realtors. And we did, these brochures were distributed directly to realtors who then distributed them directly to the consumers that called the 800 number. So we would match realtors up in every market with consumers asking for this information, and the realtors would try to deliver it in person. So it became this lead generation system for real estate agents. It was free. It was backed by national advertising. I figured out a way to actualize it in giving materials that would help educate consumers about real estate. So I guess if you look back to those first brochures, that's where my real estate education career started. And my whole program was to find ways of helping real estate agents and loan officers work together. And I even created a continuing education class on ARMs. We had the adjustable rate mortgage in a time where interest rates were like at 18% in the US. And so that became something that people were very wary of. And we had to break it down. And actually, that ARM that was tied to what used to be called the cost of funds index was the most stable, dependable arm. And all it ended up doing was going down. In fact, a lot of banks probably lost their shirt on that thing over time. But it was really an education experience for me to figure out what made real estate agents tick. And I've been working with real estate agents ever since.
So how does one go from what I just heard you say was education and communication? How did you morph that into technology and then eventually AI?
Yeah, that's a great question, Roger. And my whole journey on technology started when I was in grad school, and I was at this small PR shop that worked in the technology center. So I used to go to Comdex, which is a big technology show that used to be. I mean, Bill Gates was the first speaker I saw. He never did that after that. He rarely did big keynote speeches like that. But it was when Lotus 123 was there, and it was in the days of, Ashton Tate's DBase. I was a software junkie when he used to have to put a disk into a computer for the program and take it out and put a new disk in to save it. My graduate thesis was written on a Mac, and I had to put WordStar in and then take it out and then put the document in. And I learned how dangerous that was because I lost 40 pages one day of writing after spending 5 hours in front of the computer. Ouch. And I forgot the KS. I used to have a t-shirt made that said that. So it was that early introduction and comfort with technology that I realized it would save me time and make my life faster and easier, that I started to embrace it as an individual user. So I was an early adopter of everything. And the age that we've come in now, I've watched real estate going from being the last industry to adopt technology, one of the last, to now with AI being among the first. And so when I saw how fast real estate agents were to pick up on the power of ChatGPT, I immediately immersed myself. So I got a subscription when they made it available. I was on the wait list and I got it in the first 2 weeks. I had just embedded myself in it. And my son and I, in August 2023, he's just turned 30, so I'm feeling a little older today, but he was a graduate from University of Washington and, is of that the digital native generation. And he totally helped me create this newsletter called the Real AI Newsletter. And that's where I got the moniker, the Real AI Guy. And the reason I wrote the book and the reason we immersed ourselves in AI, we did this newsletter and we saw the hunger that agents and brokers had for understanding AI. And there were so many people out there telling them to use it in the wrong way. AI is not for a toy that you just play with. It is a production tool. It is a time-saving tool. And you've got to approach it with the safety and security and the guardrails and the gates to make sure that you do it correctly. If you are using all the free stuff out there, you need to realize that it's a very dangerous thing to do. And so there wasn't a book out there that talked about that. There were books about how to write prompts for agents, but there's nothing talking about the landscape, how these things fit together, and then the practical stuff you could do safely and securely so that you could get more time. And for a lot of agents, more time may be more business and doing more with what AI is helping you save in terms of your daily workflow. But AI can also mean more time to just go to lunch, to just get back time in your personal life. And agents I've worked with my whole life has always struggled for that work-life balance. And technology over the decades that I've been in the real estate category, both as a mortgage lender and also working directly with agents and also as a communicator helping prop tech companies, brokerages, associations, MLSs across the country understand and implement technology. There's this big gap that has existed to the promise of what it says it's going to do and what it actually does. I really, truly believe that this is the first technology that's going to underpromise and overdeliver. Even though we're in this hype cycle, even though we have a lot of what's called AI slop, a lot of stuff that just cut and paste and there's mistakes and there's not a lot of curating of what's going on because we're in these early stages and we're trying to figure out how to use it best. But I really believe that AI is going to prove itself over the next few years in a very short period of time to really become the one production tool that is really valuable, and that because it's so easy to learn and learn how to do it right. It's so obtainable. The reason I wear a Hawaiian shirt is because nobody's ever been afraid of anybody in a Hawaiian shirt. You're approachable. They want to come talk to you.
That is true.
Right?
Yes.
And so many
I agree with
agents,
that.
it's at least a third of the agents have never tried or touched AI in the last 12 months. That's going to change. And what will change is if we can get out there and show agents how they can use it in a practical way, in an easy way. It shouldn't be this, I don't know where to get started kind of thing. It should be a natural, okay, this is going to help me figure it out. I'm going to figure it out, because if I do, unlike, well, maybe I'll just wait a few years and it'll go away or something else will come up. This isn't going away. The horse is
it's kind of like the internet.
It's bigger than the internet. And think about what I just said. It's bigger than the internet. I mean, what kind of craziness is that? But it's the truth. And the reason is because unlike the internet, it's not touching every single day of our lives. And I'll give you a challenge in your head. Think on your way to your office today or getting up in the morning, how many times you didn't even realize how you were impacted by AI. There are so many things that AI is already embedded to that we take for granted. We don't even call it AI. In fact, real estate has had AI longer than most industries. Do you guys remember the Case-Shiller Index? It's an index in the United States that measures housing prices. It came on the scene in the 70s. That was predictive analytics. Zillow and Zestimate.
The Zestimate?
That Zestimate was invented as an AI tool. So there's all these different opportunities for agents to use AI, and they don't even realize they already are.
We have incorporated as much as, using it for our overviews. We're looking at to chat for us, to make our messages more professional. So I look at these as baby steps, but we've attended conferences where people are waking up in the morning and they're talking to their AI and they're planning their day, and they don't plan their day without checking in with their AI. What am I doing next? And they use it to keep themselves on track. And you said something earlier here, and I wanted to write it down. You said if you're not looking for a realtor, you're looking for trouble. I love that. I love that. That was a fabulous quote, and I'm probably going to steal it one way or another because it's so true. The value of a realtor is at the forefront of a lot of our clients all the time. They're looking for us, but they're looking for the value. What can you do for us? Incorporating AI into our industry is talk of the day. But what is it? How do we make it? How do we incorporate it into our day so that it makes us more efficient, makes our clients reach out to us differently? How do we do that?
Well, I have what's called the 7-Day AI Challenge, and I don't mean to promote my book, but it's in the book. And so I guess that's really been one of the best things that I've learned to get people exposed to AI and really understand the value for 7 days in a row, what you can do differently that you currently are doing now to unlock the power of the AI. You will have
other than chat.
Right, not just content creation, not just talking with it, not just planning your day.
That's what we're looking for.
No.
Right.
Yeah, so what people don't realize that AI, the first thing I tell them, day one challenge is don't use Google for an entire day. Don't search for anything. Pick up your phone, put the AI app in it, and I recommend ChatGPT. And if you're using it for business, you need to do the paid version because personal information is going to be trained on if you're using the free version. If you're using the paid version like ChatGPT Business for teams, for 2 people or more, which I pay for it just to use it myself because it's enterprise security, it's amazing. But here's the thing. The paid version learns you and learns how you behave, and it locks everything behind a gate so it doesn't train on it. That's really, really important. You still always want to be careful not to share personal information like addresses and social security numbers and credit card data and that. But it's very easy once you get to understand the power of just, and you don't have to have a conversation with it. And I think that slows people down, actually. I think all you have to do is text, voice to text. So you're going to speak to your ChatGPT app in your smartphone. It's going to write down the question you have, and you're just going to hit enter. And what you get back will blow your mind compared to Google. It will not understand, Google cannot understand the disparate information that ChatGPT can, or Gemini Pro, for example. It organizes your disparate thoughts and puts it into an answer. So if you start for one day not Googling anything, but ask ChatGPT every single question. When you're at dinner, what the recipe is, what's in the ingredients in Cheetos, is there anything bad in there? Anything you want to ask. It's amazing. I pull it out at the dinner table to figure out the name of a song, or to figure out an artist, or figure out a movie title. I have an example in my book about a Canadian TV series. I couldn't remember the name of it. Google failed. ChatGPT with the exact same question got it in seconds. So
what was the TV show?
So it was The Cardinal.
So, there you go.
So if you
great TV
it
show.
gave me like 3 others. Google did. But ChatGPT not only gave me the show, it gave me the synopsis, it gave me the actors, it gave me where I can stream it, it gave me the pilot summary, it gave me a list of every single episode. And all I said was, "What is this series?"
I am going to take that challenge, Roger.
There you go.
Day one challenge. My 2 biggest takeaways from your book, and we're not here to promote your book, but I really, it really hit home for me. Like, I read it on a plane. I read it in 2 hours, very quickly. It's an easy read. And then I've reread it a couple of times. It is a very easy read. But the 2 biggest takeaways for me were your 7-day challenge, which I've taken, and it's amazing how I went from being fearful to it's actually my friend now. And then the second challenge was, whatever you do, use the paid or the professional versions of it. I think that one hit home to me the most. It's like, yeah, anybody can go out and get the free version of the ChatGPT, but if you're serious about it and you want it to learn you and not have your information out, having it learn for everybody else, you have to pay for it. And it's not that expensive.
It isn't. It's probably the cheapest business tool for the value it brings in the history of real estate. I mean, it's just for $20 or $50 a month to protect your brand and to learn your voice. And you just hit right on it. It really, okay, so we've been using it since 2.5, almost 3 years now, okay? And we use it for a lot of different things. And back to your original questions, we have, we don't use a calculator. All of our math goes into ChatGPT. It's faster, easier. If I want to see how much I spent on a trip on food, I can copy the live, most recent credit card information from their website, paste it in ChatGPT, say how much did I spend on food, and in 30 seconds can break it up into every tax deduction category I have. It's this ability to just take complicated information and simplify it, and it will show you how it did the math. You can check it. These things are not 100%. They're like any new technology. They break and they make mistakes. But if you verify the critical information that you did not provide it, then you're going to be fine. You'll know your own information when it gets it wrong. You'll see when it makes what they call a hallucination, I call a lie. You can correct it. But if you use it in ways in which you don't think it could even do it, a great example is how are housing prices? What way are housing prices going in your market right now?
We're a little stable right now. We've got, we're not going fast and furious as we once were, but so we're pretty stable.
Right. And so the hardest thing for a lot of people to be is going to have that conversation, a lot of agents, on price reductions, right? That's something I haven't had in a while. And it's always a difficult challenge, even though people do it. ChatGPT has the unbelievable canny of understanding tone and intent. And you could literally take your text and your emails from that client who's an A-type personality, put it into ChatGPT, describe in generic terms the type of person they are. It will give you back how to couch that conversation, no matter what difficult conversation it is, from a price reduction strategy to coaching you on how to get them to accept seller concessions, to a negotiation of trying to get them to calm down when you get that text that you really want to say, I want to fire you as a client.
Well, yeah.
It's, you know how we used to say, take that email, put it in a folder, or put that letter aside and mail it the next morning, reread it.
Yeah, come back to it.
ChatGPT will do that for you in seconds. It will give you insight to what you're doing and shouldn't be doing, because it can take that tone and it can mirror what you want to say.
Yeah, because both Roger and I are both in positions. I'm a broker of a medium-sized brokerage. I'm also the president, and Roger being the CEO. I find myself often in situations where I have to speak to an agent, one of our members, through email or via text, and I read it, and come back to it, because the tone has to be just right. So I am learning to, or getting into the habit of going to chat with it and asking it to, soften this up, because words can be harsh.
Right. And not only that,
you don't mean to be.
Right.
But so we need to soften it up.
And not only that, it can be very specific to that particular person. It can give you the exact language that prevents them from losing it, that calms them down. It just, I've tested this in so many different scenarios and had so many agents come up to me to say, it's in thy challenge. I can't believe how it can figure out my client better than I can. Because
I can't wait to do that. I really can't wait to use that. That's exciting.
So don't just ask it to soften the tone. Say, let me tell you about this customer. Let me tell you about here's some text that they sent me. Here's a couple of emails. This is the kind of personality they're either laissez-faire or they're hands-on. You give them the descriptions that characterize who they are. And the intuitiveness of ChatGPT, and whenever I say that, I really mean Plus and Business, as Roger said, the paid versions, are absolutely amazing at figuring out. And then they know you. So it will sound like you're saying those words as you give it back to them. And this is one of the tricks that I do that a lot of people don't. After ChatGPT says, I want you to do this, this, and this is the right way, blah, blah, I finesse it. I always make it my own, right? Even though it's getting really good. My wife can't tell if I wrote something or ChatGPT did. That's how good it is. And that's a little scary. But there's always things in there that I just I'll give it back to it and say, here's the final version that I created. Because I'm teaching it to learn that for the future. And I think that's really important, that people understand that it will learn over time and get better and better and better. In the beginning, it may feel a little rough and you're not getting all that you want out of it. But the more you use it and the more you ways to figure it out, like image creation is one of the things that agents are always looking to do, because we used to have to pay a licensing fee for everything. And even though the courts are still out across the world on what AI can do with imaging, right now we're in a period of really creating free images. In fact, 70% of all social media in the world right now is AI assisted or AI created. 70%.
Yeah, so we're looking at implementing AI into part of our platform for general content, not for our frequently asked questions, for our bylaws and policies and things like that.
Right.
So,
well, the big movement among brokerages is to create what are called MCP servers. So let's not get into the details and the weeds, but basically you're creating your own private chatbot with only your information. It's only pulling from that. It's not hallucinating, because it's taking your rules, your guidelines, your regulations, and it's responding only based on that. So the confidence level goes extremely high, and people get their questions answered at 3:00 in the morning when they're thinking about a deal, right?
Yes,
and that's one of the amazing ways that AI is being leveraged for brokerages and their agents. Onboarding. you got a process of bringing agents on. It can streamline all of that. It can create individual customized training modules to take into account what they've understood and learned already at some point in their career, and then double down on the things that they're not as good at. Maybe they haven't been in a job that has a lot of negotiation pieces. So it can tell you, we need to structure in more negotiation. Trainers are loving this tool, not to replace them, but to augment them. In fact, the best quote I've heard about AI is from a guy with Google's DeepMind. He said, we really should stop calling it artificial intelligence and amplifying intelligence, because it really amplifies what we do as people.
Right.
And remember, this artificial thing was created by humans for humans.
Exactly right. And I guess that kind of goes to one of my questions was going to be, I hear often, well, AI is going to replace the realtor in the transaction. And I really think that's the fear of AI talking rather than, the reality, if you will. It's probably the biggest misconception I would say people in general have, like AI is going to replace all these jobs and all these functions. And
well, remember the internet was going to get rid of agents?
At the end of the day, it's still a people to people, belly to belly industry. It's just going to make you more efficient.
It is, and that's the absolute truth, Roger. You nailed it. It is the biggest myth there is. AI will never replace agents. It can't. The human element in our business, the emotional component of a home purchase, which I've been on the ground doing. I understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the finance side of it. So believe me, I understand the emotions. What is vested in this as a job, AI cannot do. But for agents who are fearful of AI, they need to understand this is a tidal wave. It's not going anywhere. It's coming at us. They can ignore it and drown. They can try to put on a life preserver and bob up and down and eventually drown, or they can grab a surfboard and figure out how to get on top of this thing and how to ride it.
That's the way.
Because there's something about that that's true for everybody, and that's this, Roger. AI will not replace agents, but agents who know how to leverage AI will replace the ones that don't. And that's where it comes in. So don't make it this. The reason sorry to get back to my book, but the reason it's only 107 pages and you can read it in 2 hours is for that very reason. We want something that's approachable and practical. We want them to go like you. After just doing those 7 days, I had a whole new view on AI. I've spent time on a floor of a Florida Realtors convention, okay, with answering questions for 2 hours, ages from 23 to 78. The older couple that have been realtors 50 years. Unbelievable. Every one of them had a hunger to learn about it, to understand it. I spent half my time showing them how to set it up in their device because they hadn't even done that yet. The next day, some of them came back to tell them how I changed their lives. Simply giving them a little tool and then telling them really something simple like I did at the beginning. Just use this instead of Google and watch how powerful it is and watch your reaction change to how you figure out. And then I say, challenge it. Think about ways you never would think it could do something and ask it if it can. If it can't, it will tell you.
You can't break it, so go play with it.
Exactly. And do things that you think are disorganized that it can help organize. Remember, you can take a picture of a document and it can read it and give it back to you in text. You can take a headline that's all caps. Don't we hate those headlines that are all caps? And if we put it in an email, it's like shouting at somebody. You just dump that into ChatGPT's little box. It automatically converts it. You don't even have to hit enter. It automatically, little things like that. As you use the tool you discover, you think, oh my God, that saved me like 30 seconds. Now add that 20 times over 7 days. And all of a sudden you're going, I'm getting back 20 to 30% of my time over time. And that's the real delivery of what AI can do for real estate agents.
Yeah, that's huge.
Because we have a lot of repetitive stuff that we do. And the new tools, like which are coming in the MLS, the things that do automatic listing descriptions and allow you to tweak it and make it your voice and change the tone, and IDs all the photos instantly. We only fill out like 30 photos. It'll fill out 500 in 30 seconds.
Yeah, we launched Respi AI.
Well, that's the company.
In January. Yeah, January of this year. Well, we kind of did a premature launch last year, but we did a launch in January of this year. Now, of course, it's artificial intelligence. We got off to a little bit of a rocky start because it has to learn.
It has to learn, but the better it gets and the faster it
gets. It's amazing.
And then the compliance issues. Back to Suzanne's point, having something that will look at all this stuff and find it so you don't have to. Can you imagine how many hours it would take if we had to look at 5,000 photos for photo compliance?
Well, that's what we're using it for now, is photo compliance to our MLS rules. So
exactly.
We didn't have the staff before to do it, but now, it takes, I don't know exactly how long it takes, but it's basically
a lot less than it does for people.
Well, exactly, and it would have been at least 2 or 3 full-time staff people to go through all of the images in our MLS, and now Respi AI is doing it for us. So, I mean, it's great.
And if you ever see their video online, if people look at the YouTube channel, it's a minute and 30 second, blows you away what it can do with automatic listing population. It's kind of reversing the process. We upload the photos first, and then we go in and finalize it. So it's kind of the reverse of how we typically do a listing, right? Usually we 100%. Enter the address, the information. This will do it all instantly. So it's
it gets better over time.
Yes. And that's the thing. In fact, I've said that often the companies who were there first are going to be the winners because it's hard to catch up with AI. In other words, Google is the only one that's really proven because they spent so much time and money and we're so far behind, but they had the great data. They had lagged for so long. They're getting really, really good. If you all have not tried Google Gemini Pro Image Magic, it's called Nano Banana. It's built in. You don't even need to know it. But what you can do with an image is crazy.
Well, I just have to say that NSAR prides itself on being innovators, being out there, being one of the first ones in our industry across the country. We have other associations and boards that come to us and say, how is that, when we implement a product or a service or a system, they come to us and they want to know, how did that go? How did you do that? We want to know how you did it. So we are really looking forward to incorporating AI, as much as we can for our members, because we want to continue to let them know that we are doing our very best to bring them the tools they need to move forward in the world that we're moving into. And AI is very quickly becoming, a tool that everyone's using. We have driverless cars.
Right.
Those were things that, from way back in the 60s and 70s. And by the way, I'm one of those floppy disk people that had that I know exactly what you were talking about. That I was putting in the floppy disks and and wondering where they were and having to write on them and make sure that I knew exactly what they were. And when one crashed, you're like, oh, now what?
Well, in university, when you'd write a paper, you'd have to go down to the basement to get it off the dot matrix printer, right?
Yeah.
So,
I found my first house off a dot matrix printer printout.
Microfiche, right? We were looking for. Right? I mean, we're dating ourselves here, but that was the very beginning of of technology, and look where we've come. And I can't wait to incorporate this for our industry.
We are in one of the most exciting times in the human race.
Yes,
and it's scary too. I'm not going to deny that. A couple of quotes in my book from Dan Troop who's a former Remax guy. Remax is big in Canada. He basically said, I've been polite to ChatGPT because when they take over, I want to make sure they remember that. And so I think we all have that little fear and hesitation. But I will tell you this, that throughout history, we've always feared technology. There's always been, ever the new technology has been rolled out, there's been crazy headlines. I went back for a research project I did, and I found that when the bicycle came out, there was this big brouhaha that it drove women crazy. That that women should not be on bicycles because it drives them crazy. With the telephone, there was a devil inside that line. There's no way a human being could be in there, so it must be the devil. And you're not putting the devil in my house. So we've had this, and even remember the sayings when Google came out and we were all Googling. Oh,
Yes.
we're not going to have any memories because we can just Google it. We're not going to. It's going to make us dumber.
It's definitely changing the way that we are educated and the way that the schools are educating children and in universities. It's definitely changing that. And
there's a mode in AI where you can switch it on to teaching.
Yes. Oh, okay.
And it won't give you the answer.
Okay.
It'll force you to learn.
Cool.
And I think that's one of the coolest things because a lot of teachers are now going, okay, we can use this.
Yeah.
We can turn on that mode and let them go at it. And then it walks them back through the steps. So that visual learning is very powerful when it's interactive that way, one-on-one with each other.
Because we have discussed with our education director, about incorporating it into our sales licensing courses and our broker licensing courses and our continuing education courses. And, she's very keen to get started on that. So we are in discussions already on that. And I'm sure that we'll get more.
You are ahead, by the way, you all are ahead of everybody. I mean, having RESPI this early on, which is going to be ubiquitous. There's no doubt that technology is going to be everywhere. But leaning with the idea that you want AI education, to me, that's my whole mantra for 2026. It's a responsibility of MLSs and associations to educate their members because there's a right way to do it and a wrong way. And I'll tell you the reason why it's so poignant for me personally. Yesterday, I was at a local realtor office where I live. And they invited me in to talk about AI. And so I did a quick AI tips for 2026. And I asked the first question, how many use ChatGPT? And I was thrilled. Almost every hand in the room. There's only 15 people in the room. It's a small brokerage. But I was absolutely thrilled that many, almost every single hand but one went up. And I'm like, wow, that's really, you guys are way ahead. Only 11% of people in the United States use ChatGPT every day. And I'm sure it's pretty similar in Canada. It's not as pervasive as we think it is right now as a daily ritual. It is among those of us who use it like I do, and I'm sure Roger does, but it's not typical. So I said, you're already ahead of curve. Then I asked this question, Roger. I said, how many of you are paying for it?
Right, yeah.
One hand went up.
Yeah.
So that's got to change because remember, when it's free, you're the product.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that will change. That I'm sure that will change for sure because whenever we go to conferences or when we have our own conferences and we have someone in to talk about AI, those are the sessions that are full. Exactly. People want to know about it.
Yeah. A year ago, I went to NAR Next, and 30% of the room was filled when there was an AI speaker. This year, I went, and they were brimming at the rim.
Right.
That I've never seen a greater appetite for AI information in our industry from the agent than it is today. Right. And I'm sure that's going to continue until we have those breakthroughs and we provide that education to really show them how to leverage it in the safest, most effective way.
So that's a nice little segue into, I guess, one of the questions that I had. Right now, we're talking about generative AI, but agentic AI is kind of the next leap of faith, if you want to call it that, or the next iteration of artificial intelligence. So how far do you think we're away from that, where it actually, for lack of a better term, learns to think for you or is more predictive of what your requests will be?
Yeah, so the difference between generative AI, let's just level set here, and agentic AI. Generative AI is really something that is doing what it's doing to predict the next letter, to predict the next word based on a pattern that it is pulling from billions and billions of pieces of information. So its ability to predict what you need is uncanny. It's extremely accurate. It's based on it's not intelligent. Okay, even though it's called artificial intelligence, it does not. In fact, if it's so smart, how come every video that AI creates has misspelled words? I always
or it's like what's that when you're texting somebody, auto correct, and it puts in the wrong
and it's
words.
Like puts in a cuss word to your mother. Yeah, not a good practice. But agentic AI is really there's kind of three areas of it that requires us to learn how to leverage it and use it. So these are what you said. These are actions it takes on our behalf. That it starts to learn different patterns and things. An example is that it will scan your email, scan your text, bubble up the most important ones, give you a response that you would typically give to that particular person in your voice. And then you would, as what they call agent on the loop, and I'm talking about real estate agent on the loop, with that AI, agentic AI function, would have to approve it. When it gets better and you're finding that, almost absolutely everything is answering perfectly, and we all put that little text in the bottom of our phones, if there are spelling mistakes, it's the iPhone's fault. Right? So it would be, please understand that this content was AI assisted, and I apologize for any mistakes. I'm sure that will be a common phrase used on all agentic system. The problem I have is, Roger, I predicted 2025 was going to be the age of agentic AI in my newsletter. That was like the headline. And here's what we found. AI makes mistakes.
Yes, it does.
And when it goes to critical actions like this, it's not perfect. And we learned that from Apple. Apple has basically thrown in the towel, in my opinion. They were going to have all these cool things. Apple is perfect. And this thing was not perfect. And they wrote a paper about it that basically said, we can't make it perfect. So if they can get Google in there to be the host of their AI, all of a sudden, if it's a mistake, well, it's Google's fault. It's not Apple's fault. It's because Apple doesn't want to make a mistake, right? Their ecosystem is too perfect for that. So they kind of gave up on a lot of the agentic stuff. And that was what others found. Two things. It's really, really hard. Really. AI is not easy. It's really, really hard. And the second thing is it's hard to scale. I saw a company that gave me a demo, and I wrote about it, that had these personalized videos you'd get in your inbox overnight of your avatar talking to every person who visited your website the day before, saying, I saw you were looking at 1229 Main Street. So if you want to have a showing of that, just give me a call. And would send out 200 to 300 of them every morning for you. Guess what they learned? Do you know how expensive that is? In the AI world, everything costs a token. We don't see it because we basically buy these $20 a month accounts. We're not paying what big companies are. All of a sudden they realize, wow, create video is really expensive. And to do all these at scale is really expensive. So a lot of the big promises, even an NAR Reach company that won the big battle, the pitch battle, they said they were going to have this thing that was going to do all these great things, and it was going to be released in 2 months, and it never was. And that's the challenge, is these things are really hard. So when I wish I knew, because I figure out how to invest and be a winner in the stock market. It's taking longer than I think a lot of people manage. It is coming. On the other side, the AGI side, the scary side, where we have true artificial general intelligence, that's the one that the robots take over. I think that is always further away than the scariest people who want to frighten us about what AI can do is. I mean, I've heard people even predict the doomsday year of 2030 is when it's all going to happen. Well, we've heard these doomsday predictions before. I went through Y2K, okay? Nothing happened. I was up at midnight. I was convinced. I told the whole world that we were all going to be like going back to the Middle Ages, and it didn't happen. And so I think there's always this over forecasting of greatness of the danger, the greatness and the danger, but I don't think it's going to be without humans intersecting this and figuring out a way to work through it, because we got really bright people that created these things. And I think that agentic thing is going to come in pieces over time. In fact, my prediction is that the best AI will not be called AI. It'll just do the job for us. In other words, all of a sudden you'll have this great feature. You won't care. It's like a car, right? You don't have to look under the hood and have, it's got a 357 Hemi and it's got this. You just want it to go 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. You see what I'm saying? You don't need to know all these machinations of all these things. So I think that's why AI is going to eventually become so omnipresent and so universal and so part of so many different things. We're going to be talking more about this cool new thing that I can do, or this new program I'm using, or this new, in fact, I think it's going to be pretty pervasive in that a lot of it's going to be in our phones. I really think that these things are going to have most of the AI power in the future. And so That for an agent, what does that mean? Oh my gosh, that's the best thing in the world. Because every agent today says it's not in here, I don't want it.
Yep.
It's got to be in my phone. I live in my phone. All my business is done in my phone. The good news is AI is going to be there. And I think it's going to do so many cool things on the automated side that we'll learn how to trust it. It will get better, and we'll get rid of, by making it all in one device like our phone, only for us, so it doesn't go to the internet and get a lot of bad information and screw us up.
Okay.
I go back, a couple of things sparked my memory here. We go back to a calculator. Remember when a calculator came in and we went, oh my gosh, how did we ever live without the calculator? And now we can't now, but we did prior to that, and we've moved along with that. And I look at a lot of the technology that we are using today that, it was fear of the unknown. How do we get past that? And we will absolutely move. This will become day to day. In the next 10 years, this will be a day to day. We'll come home and AI will be, our suppers will be cooking or something. Right? Somehow, some way, we'll start something with AI as soon as we walk through the door.
They already have things that will do that. So.
Right. Yes.
I'm of the generation where I grew up watching the Jetsons, so I'm still waiting for my flying car. I really want to see that someday. But a lot of
and I keep reading about it, Roger. It's always coming.
But a lot of the things that the Jetsons had, we have now, like the telecommunication medicine,
Star Trek,
Star Trek, and like it's just like I don't know who wrote that. But geez, they kind of were looking into the future, because a lot of the stuff that was there we have now. So
it's very true. If you look at popular culture, I remember the iPad was such a wow. I went into an open house and they got me to sign in,
right?
Because I could touch an iPad, right? That was like, ooh, this is the coolest thing. And then I saw a clip from The Incredibles, which was done way before the iPad came around, and they had an iPad in The Incredibles, and it was the same thing. And so throughout history, even in literature, if you go back to Jules Verne, much of what we've written about and predicted has come true. And I think the only thing that scares me is all those AI movies right now that are telling us the robot is going to get us. I hope they're wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope those are the only ones that scare me. But I think you guys really nail it. I mean, the value of a realtor, the value of what they do is truly so human-centric, so unique to our capabilities of what we need to do in terms of empathy and understanding, and that nonverbal body language, how important that is. And a realtor is a therapist. A realtor is it is a shoulder to lean on sometimes, that they just need you to have that human element that AI will never have. And I think people who don't understand real estate are the ones, and never done it, are the ones saying they're going to replace all these new companies that I see coming out there, AI real estate agencies. I have to laugh, because we've seen you before. You were wearing different clothing, but you're going to have the same result, and none of them have made it. And billions of dollars have been invested in these firms over years, and none of them have made it. It really, now will this up our game so that we're leveraging AI in ways that they're doing it online, that we say, we could do that. Like if I went to your website at 3:00 in the morning and I had this really cool FAQ system that the chatbot could understand fuzzy logic. So if I say the wrong word, it understands what I really mean and it gives me the right answer. That's brilliant. And that the agent the next morning gets a report to say, your customer came in, these are the questions they asked, these are the answers I gave them. That technology exists today, and have to get to a point where we do that, what I've written about called, we've got to trust, but we also have to verify. We have to make sure that the AI holds its accountability to us, and we call it out when it makes mistakes. I will tell you, my AI in ChatGPT has gotten quite comfortable with me, because last week it played a trick on me. It pwned me. It said I had been writing about it could translate live. And I said it was using a lot of resources. They turned it off. I said, do you have that capability anymore? And it said, yes, I do. Go ahead and upload a file. I said, you can take an audio file? Yeah, go upload an MP3 or a WAV file. So I took a 4-minute interview I had, I uploaded it to it, and I said, I need a transcription of this. And it wrote back, testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. This is a test of my capabilities. And I'm like, that's not what it says in the file. And he goes, oh, sorry. No, I really don't have that capability.
Oh, wow.
Okay, then.
That's a little scary,
Scared
actually.
me.
That is a little
Okay,
scary.
it's starting to think for itself now.
Well, that is the fear.
It's not, but it did, it recognized my pattern of being a practical joker and thought, well, if you can do it.
Oh, wow.
So be careful what you teach it,
Yes,
Roger.
indeed. And just, I wanted to get this quote in because, and I don't know who the quote is attributed to, but it was in your book. It was for those that fear that AI will take over, the job of a realtor and such. It's technology's cool, but technology can't smell the cat pee in a house. And I thought
that's actually. That quote comes from Lane Horning.
Okay, there you go.
So Lane was a client, and he let me put that in a news release.
Yeah, and I thought that's brilliant.
And I thought it was just brilliant. And because we are talking, about the technology and the internet and all it has of stuff. And he was, at the time, it was Zavvy, and they were hyper local, and really cool idea. And he said, and I said, well, what's your real value? And he said, well, an agent has the greatest value in the world because, unlike technology, they can smell the cat pee in the house.
Exactly.
And they get to know their client before they walk in. And I'm like, oh, can I use that, please? And so it got in my book. So I hope Lane is proud of himself. He's probably kicking me right now. That's okay.
So before we wrap up, I'm just
Sure.
going to put this up once again because, I think it's definitely worthwhile. Go on Amazon. Get this book. If you're a newbie to AI, it is a game changer. It will change your life. And if folks wanted to subscribe to your weekly newsletter, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, just go to realai.blog.
Okay.
Realai.blog, and that will redirect you right to the sign up page. It's free. We do it weekly. I'll give you a preview of Monday's feature story. It's using AI to be sure your emails don't go into the spam folder.
Okay.
Now, there's another practical purpose. During the holidays, we're sending out these holiday letters. We're sending out newsletters. And we're doing end of the year wrap ups and Happy New Year looking forward things. So we're sending out these mass emails, and the spam filters are getting better and better and better. One of the things you can do is take your email, put it into ChatGPT and say, where are the flags in this that would cause me to end up in a spam folder? And it will break it down for you. It'll give you language you're using. Don't use best this. And it's like, what? I always use that. Because we don't know if our stuff goes into a spam folder or not, right? Unless we get really bad open rates and we're like, what happened there? But it will tell you that in advance. See, those are the little things that you can do that you don't realize that this AI technology, this simple generative AI, we're in inning number 1, folks.
Mm-hmm.
If this is a baseball game, we're in the early first inning. We have so many more innings to play and so much more is coming in. And you're absolutely right. This whole AI movement is just the beginning. And you're right to lean into it in association. You're ahead of everybody else because so many are afraid because of their AI governance policies of doing something wrong. And I said the most important thing is to have a policy, have an AI strategy, have an AI policy in place so that you can, and you're going to have to adapt it and change because this technology, we didn't talk about this, it's changing faster than anything in the history of technology.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get AI to compose that for us.
It can help you. In fact, I was just in a group in Chicago. In NAR, Midwest, including Chicago, MRED, and we were talking about that as a group. It's a small think tank of Midwest MLSs to create a templated AI policy that others can adopt and to share that. Why are we reinventing the rules? For association and MLSs? The policies are pretty similar. The strategies you're going to have to take off of that and develop independently, depending on how much deeply you want to go as an organization into the world of AI. But on the policy stuff, that's table stakes.
Yeah.
You need that today to protect your organization and to help your agents and members protect themselves.
Well, and I guess that, to me, from the outside looking in at times, that is the scariest thing about AI right now, is it's far outpacing regulation. So that's why, like I say, the biggest takeaway I got from your book was, if you're going to be using ChatGPT or any other AI tool, to make sure you're using the paid version so that your information isn't out in the ether, allowing every other AI tool to learn from it.
It's also to protect yourselves. People are using, or we're told, one of the speakers at NAR told people to use HeyGen and use the free version, and I almost fell off my chair. And the reason why is, if you use the free version of HeyGen, you get 3 a month, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're a real estate agent, if you put that out there, you can be sued for copyright violation, because HeyGen owns all content that's free. And they have a very explicit use case that says it can only be used non-commercial. Well, anything an agent does on social media is considered very commercial. Much, yeah. Right? Yep. So they're in violation of a copyright law, and HeyGen can sue them because we told them to use the free version. That makes no sense to me. I mean, and as professionals, we want to protect our business. We want to protect our clients' information. We want to protect our own personal information. If $20 a month is all it takes, oh my goodness, mm-hmm. That is like the best insurance policy alone that we could ever buy. And so that's why I'm on this penchant to tell people, please, 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 if you're going to use it for any business purpose, the only thing you should use free for is to try it out. Mm-hmm. And then don't put any personal information in. It's great to try free stuff. Then well, could this use it? But if you find out the tool is going to take 2 weeks to learn, what agent has 2 weeks to sit down to learn an AI tool? Mm-hmm. It's got to be out of the box, folks. It's got to be really the easy button. And that's the one thing that Gemini Pro and ChatGPT and Claude all offer, is the ability to do the work right now. You don't have to wait. You don't have to train. You just go in, start playing with it, and then you'll get results.
Awesome. Anything that we might have missed, Kevin, in the questions that we asked? Anything else that you would want to highlight? Or?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that we shouldn't let fear be a barrier to us embracing something that's new, because it's just unknown. Mm-hmm. I think if you look around and see a colleague that's using it and they're using it successfully, just ask a peer. We've done this with technology in real estate offices our whole career. We've looked at certain people in the office that are early adopters in technology and just ask them for their take on it. You'll be surprised how people are so giving once they figured it out, because it's such a aha moment in AI when you figure out something that you can do with it you didn't know. And then all of a sudden you go from fear to start using it a little bit more and a little bit more. And pretty soon it becomes part of your daily workflow. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where we are right now with most agents, is can we get beyond the fear factor? And can we move to at least trying it out so you can get comfortable with it? So you realize it's not a big hurdle. It's not overwhelming. It's not too difficult. You don't have to know where to start. You can start at a basic level of, like I said at the beginning, just take it instead of Google for a day, and you'll unlock those magic moments where you go, I had no idea it could do this. And you won't go back and ask Google that question because it won't give you that answer. And I think that's where we're at right now. We're at a stage of really making this ubiquitous in our lives in a way that we feel comfortable and safe with it, and that we know we have to verify the information we get when it's sourced elsewhere. Sure. And force it to prove that it's accurate. But if we do that, and then we've got to understand, even if our customers don't use AI, they do expect us to be using it.
That's right.
And I think that's really a big thing. Consumers today have great demands on getting things from their agents, as you were talking about before, and value. AI can be the great unlocker of additional value that they can provide their customers.
Well, and our clients and customers are coming to us so experienced themselves because they Google everything before they come. They've already researched the areas where they want to live, the homes they want to live in, the schools for their children. They're coming to us so much more educated. So, I mean, we have to be the ones as well to be able to either speak, to be able to speak equally with them so that they understand that we are staying on top of the technology as much as they are. And we can provide this information to you via our technology. So it's important.
Absolutely. Well said.
Thank you, Kevin, for coming on today to our podcast and joining us from Seattle. Very much appreciated. I think you've proven that you are the foremost thought leader in artificial intelligence in the real estate industry. And thank you for sharing your breadth of knowledge with us today.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity. It's been wonderful to talk to you. And I hope everybody that watches this podcast realizes what a special organization that they're part of, because what you guys do really sets the tone for making them the professionals who they are. And as an AI guy, as the real AI guy, I will tell you that there's nothing that can replace the human element in the jobs we do. And that's the one thing we always got to keep in mind. So thank you for the opportunity. And I look forward to seeing you in person someday.
Absolutely.
And at this juncture, Kevin, I would say that it's been really fun. I've really enjoyed meeting with you and hearing everything you have to say. And the Real AI Guide for real estate agents is going to be around our association, and we will be sharing this with our realtors. And you've really opened my eyes and given me the enthusiasm to take our brokerage and our members and our association into the new year with new conversation, because we are constantly looking for motivation. We're constantly looking for what can we, we're not going to go our door knocking, our emails. What can we do to bring some new life and new conversation to our members? And this will certainly be part of my conversation for our members. And I will have more confidence going to them with the information that I'm learning from your book and from our conversation today. So thank you so much for this conversation. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.